Around 1932, a gentleman by the name of Garnet Carter started Rock City. Now the name Rock City had been around for ages, was known by the Indians, but Garnet Carter had a different thing in mind. And in 1932, Rock City opened to the public. Because of Mr. Carter's wife Frida's interest in European folklore, he opened Fairyland here at Rock City. And we're going to take a look. But right after this station identification. Just to give you an idea of what's going on, I have been on the motorcycle all day. It's very hot outside. It's about 6 o'clock in the evening. I actually bought the last ticket into Rock City. Right now it's very cool and they're playing this peaceful music and it's so relaxing. Let no one say, and say it to your shame, that all was beauty here until you came. In 1823, two missionaries named David Buttrick and William Chamberlain came to Lookout Mountain, came to this area to minister to the Native Americans. On August 28th, 1823, Reverend Buttrick made an entry into his diary stating, "In company with Mr. Chamberlain, I ascend Lookout Mountain to visit a citadel of rocks." He went on to describe the immense size of the boulders, which seemed to situate themselves in such a way as to afford to streets and lanes. This is called the Needle's Eye. Very narrow. All along the pathway there are little signs that tells you what type of plants you're looking at. It's a rose bay rhododendron. I've been to Rock City many times. It's been a while. But this particular time here is really nice because there are not very many people here in the park. I'm pretty much by myself and it's quiet and so peaceful. Now, how many of you know about the Rock City birdhouses riding all over the United States on the top of barns and all? You say, you see these barns painted, see Rock City. I actually have one at home myself. Here's a picture of Garnet and Frida Carter and their collie. This is a genuine swinging bridge. And there's a view of Chattanooga. Since Rock City was off the beaten path, Garnet Carter came up with a way to get the public to come up to the mountain. In 1936, he dreamed up a new kind of road sign, one that would become famous as Rock City itself. He hired a young painter named Clark Byers, and he told him to paint advertising messages on the roof of barns along major highways. And by the 1950s, Garnet's message was painted on over 800 barns from Michigan to Texas to Florida. So journalists began calling Clark and his helpers barnyard Rembrandts. Just like that barn there, all across the country. And if the views and the rock formations and the waterfalls was not enough to get your attention, how about the fact that from up here you can see 7 states. Half a mile in that direction, Tennessee, Kentucky, and Virginia, 120 miles. You can see the top of Mount Pinnacle. North Carolina, 50 miles. In that direction, you see the Smoky Mountains. 80 miles in that direction, South Carolina, and Georgia in that direction. Over there, 25 miles, Alabama. This way to Fairyland Caverns. Moonshining Knomes.
Developed by Frida Carter, Rock City's co-founder. Scenes of make-believe were placed along the trail in a nod to her German heritage and her love of fairy tales, nursery rhymes, and folklore. Many of the known figures you'll see were specially imported from Germany in the 1930s. Rock City was a pioneer in the use of ultraviolet black light and special
The gnomes that are scattered about fairyland, they're original gnomes that belong to Frida Carter herself, and they've lived here since the 1920s. Kids, don't go inside. Don't go inside. Grandma, what big ears you have. The better to hear you with, my darling. Fee, fi, fo, fum. I smell the blood of an Englishman. Who's been sleeping in my bed? There wasn't a woman who lived in the shoes. She had so many children she didn't know what to do. Wow. Mary, Mary, quite contrary. Mary had a little lamb. There was a crooked old man. There was a crooked man. Wee Willie Winky, Little Boy Blue, Jack and Jill. Peter, Peter, Pumpkin Eater. 3 blind mice. This is called Fat Man Squeeze. Oh yeah. There's a gnome down there. He's on guard watch. Okay, this has been a fun-filled day. We've got to meet a lot of gnomes, visit a lot of old nursery stories and bedtime stories. It's been a blast. I want to thank you for joining me. If you haven't subscribed, be sure to go down here and click subscribe. After that, ring the bell so you'll be notified every time we put a video out, which is always Mondays, Wednesdays, and Fridays. But for now, y'all have a good day.